Thank you so much. It really is an honour to be here today, and I am learning so much because I am ashamed to say that I'm probably the most cavalier person when it comes to my diet you have ever met, because my path to veganism comes through ethics. So I don't really think too much about what I eat, and I qualify that very quickly because I sound really stupid when I'm sitting on panels with kind of experts and I'm saying, I don't really know. I've got 500 mouths to feed back at the sanctuary, so mine is very often the last one I'm thinking about. And also, I truly and honestly believe that I've travelled around the world, and I feel that I am very, very blessed to live in a country where I have enough food. It's not an issue to think where's the next meal's coming from. So to kind of be nitpicky about, oh, what's this and what's that, it doesn't really sit very well with me. And in fact, if I actually told people what I eat and how I eat, it would probably make your hair stand on end. So I'm just going to leave that well alone. So to tell you a little about myself, I don't know if this slideshow is going to roll, so I'm thinking that I might roll it myself. A couple of years ago, the film director Keegan Coon contacted me. Now, if you don't know Keegan, he made Cowspiracy and What the Health. I thought it was a bit of a wind-up, and he said, you know, I want to make my next film about you. And I'm thinking, why on earth would anyone want to make a film about me? It's just ridiculous. And then he said, well, I think in all his travels and meeting people, I was the best example of an extremely long-term vegan doing and continuing to do extreme things. So I said, okay, we'll make this film. So to tell you a little about myself, I went vegetarian when I was 3 years old. It was totally self-inspired. I am not going to say decision. It couldn't have been a decision at that age. It was a reaction, a simple reaction. I loved animals. What kid doesn't love animals? I mean, let's be right, multi-million-pound industries are found on Peppa Pig. If you were actually going to watch what kid would watch a Peppa Pig cartoon and then say, today, Mummy, Daddy, George and Peppa are going down the abattoir because some nasty humans have come and captured them and going to slaughter them. What kid wouldn't be vegan if they knew the truth? And I feel very, very blessed that for some reason in me, I've always known this truth. So I was vegetarian. We never had real milk in the house because that was something that my mum never had, but I was vegetarian, and then I started to ask my mum questions as I became a little bit more articulate. So, you know, eggs and leather, and we take these, why do we get these from the animals? And I was very, very fortunate in that my mum chose to tell me the truth. She explained. This was back in the 1970s. I didn't say to my mum I want to be vegan. I wouldn't even know what a vegan was. I just knew the principle behind what I wanted. We were fortunate at that time in that my mum was a very, very good pianist, and she went to a grammar school where the music teacher there was a vegan lady, and she might as well, on my mum's reflection, have been an alien. The young children, the young students had to serve the teachers their lunch. And it was kind of, oh, go and feed Miss Ball. Miss Ball, she's vegan, she's really weird, you know. But my mum was able to keep in contact with her, and she was able to articulate in an adult way what I was feeling as a child. And there were no products available, very, very few products available. So what I didn't realise at the time, because I'm learning now, I'm actually kind of finding reasons behind the reactions I was having at the time, is that my mum was just creating a really, really healthy, whole food, plant-based diet without really knowing it. And she did it by experiment. Apart from that, I mean, I would also like to address the issue about vegan privilege. If I were to tell you that I do not come from some bohemian background where anything went in the house, my mum was a nurse she wasn't good enough to be a concert pianist, she was a music teacher. And my dad was a striking miner, so money was a real issue when Dad was on strike. That didn't stop me being vegan. It didn't affect the veganism. The one thing that did affect the veganism, that I was a very, very athletic child, always loved to be outdoors. In fact, somebody once said to me, oh, you probably don't need to bother with supplements. You spend all your time grubbing about outside in the dirt. So I think they were probably referring to B12 and vitamin D. I had a lot of orthopaedic surgeries, many orthopaedic surgeries in my teenage years, which resulted in my having my kneecap removed on my right side and me being told I would never walk again properly, let alone run. What it did flag up when I was in and out of hospital is my vegan diet to medical professionals, and my veganism was likened to an eating disorder. That's what it was considered to be. And my mum, and she has kind of, I won't say not admitted this, but she's come to terms with this now. She was accused of child abuse on many, many occasions for allowing me to follow this path. And the only combat she could find is it's actual cruelty to not tell your child the truth, to lie to your child rather than to tell your child what is really going on. So this was back in the 80s, this meant that I was quite a long time out of school. And it was a question of what we're going to do with Fiona. She's been in and out of hospital. I'd just got O levels, but nothing more than that. My godfather, I went to a private college in Oxford where I learned to be a PA and studied shorthand and typing. But I also got heavily involved in cycling because I was desperate to get back out there, get my leg strength up. And cycling, continuous motion, was what I found I could do. So I competed in, cycle events around the world, went to Women's Tour de France and whatever. I was a good cyclist. There's no interest in women's cycling at the time. Still isn't, yes, that's my little endeavours, my cow suit, yes. That's not just what I wear for leisure around the sanctuary, don't worry. Well, it is, but don't tell anyone. So I got into cycling, came to London, long story short, because I haven't got long, I met my partner. I'd been doing animal rescue and I got the typical, loads of horses at livery yards and farms, chickens in the back garden of his house, dogs, cats, all the little things that you can rescue. And then it had always been a dream, never thought it would become a reality, to have an animal sanctuary, because my veganism is kind of a progression. It's never been some contrived thing where I've sat there, I must have world records by the time I so and so. It's never been like that. I've grabbed opportunities and when and where they arose. Because I think for a lot of the people in this room, we will remember a time before social media, we will remember a time when you went to a restaurant and you asked for, dare I say, soya milk for your tea, and let's put it like this, I've learnt to like black coffee, you know what I mean? So it just wasn't a term people were familiar with, even a few years ago. So one of the horses at the farm had a very, very bad accident. We'd been standing on this kind of cliff, knowing we'd got to work a different model to do rescue, but not really seeing that imperative, having that real drive to go and do it. Oscar's accident caused it to kind of jump off the cliff. My mum is very, very pivotal. She still is today with the running of the sanctuary and helping me and supporting me. I always tell the story, to get the money to kind of go to the bank and say, can we have a mortgage for this amount of money? My mum was literally selling her engagement ring, a piano. My Auntie Nancy had £1,000 in a sock under the bed for a funeral. That came out, give it to Fiona for the sanctuary, there's a chance we can rescue. So that's when we got what is now Tower Hill Stables Animal Sanctuary. Just a few acres of land. We didn't intend it to be a sanctuary in terms of an education facility to other people. It was going to be a sanctuary for our animals to live safely in. Because as I say, it hasn't been some grand plan. My life isn't a grand plan. I might walk out of it and I don't know what I'm going to think of next. So anyway, we got the sanctuary and I did various little things along the way. Because I thought to myself, well, okay, I'm rescuing animals now, and now I can really rescue the kind of animals I want to rescue, the voiceless victims, cattle, sheep, pigs, chickens, turkeys, the kind of animals that are hidden behind closed doors and exploited so horribly that you can't say, actually, Mr. Farmer, can I keep my cow down at your livery yard? It's sort of like a horse, it's got 4 legs and a tail. You couldn't do that, but you could do it from the sanctuary. And it grew and grew and grew, and my partner was toddling off to work to pay for it. And he always used to say, you can rescue as many as you can look after yourself. Well, being a competitive little bunny along the way, believe you me, I could rescue some animals. So it was growing and growing and growing and growing. So we then started to rent land because Tower Hill Stables only got a few acres. I mean, it's not massive. We couldn't afford anything massive. I mean, the step up from buying a property to a property with land is huge even today. So I thought, hang on a minute, I'm not the brain of Britain, but I can take in, I'm not the brain of Britain, trust me. So I could take in like 4 animals or 40 or 400 animals, but I'm constantly hitting at the symptoms, never getting to the cause. And the cause is the abhorrent industry that is animal agriculture. So I thought, well, how do I do that? And I've been my life has been kind of, as I say, grabbing opportunities to unwittingly or wittingly promote veganism where I can. For instance, one of the other things that I do that it wasn't covered in the film, if anybody's seen the film, they don't know about me, is that I'm also a firefighter, a retained firefighter. And literally, I wasn't thinking this is a burning ambition of mine, to be a firefighter all my life. It was just that as I'm training and keeping fit for the marathon running, a guy pulled up next to me and said, oh, you look quite fit. Have you ever thought of being a firefighter? I thought, well, it's not the thing I think of first, I must become a firefighter. But I considered it. I went down the local fire station as a retained officer, and I thought, well, okay, everything in my life it's got to have a double whammy function, because I'm not going to be here long. I realise that I'm going to be a long time dead, so I want to get the maximum amount of everything for the animals. So I thought, if I become a firefighter, it's going to kind of take away a little bit of my time from the animals, but we can cover that because Martin can cover when I'm going to be available, which is at weekends and in the evenings and bank holidays, etc. But it gives me an opportunity to bring firefight, because it's all macho men. I mean, I'm the only woman still down the station, the only woman driver. Brings me to bring my veganism into a forum that wouldn't necessarily think that a vegan woman could be a firefighter. So and it also brings in extra pennies for the animals. So it's kind of a good old win there. So I joined the fire brigade. But then I thought to myself, well, this still isn't enough, because I want to tell the world how healthy I am and continue to be on a plant-based diet. And this was back in the early noughties. And I thought, well, what can I do? I've got no money, no spare money, and very little spare time. But at the time, well, people say, why did you pick marathon running? Because you were told you wouldn't be able to walk properly, let alone run. And indeed, if anybody's seen Running for Good, they will realise that I can't run properly either, because when Keegan actually showed me the film, and believe you me, I didn't actually watch it till I was dragged out to Hollywood by Rich Roll to sit at the front of the stage. I was actually going to pull the old, sit at the back, drop something, and an hour later appear and say, well, is it over? Did I miss it? But no, you sit next to me and you watch it, and everything, and everyone's saying, oh, what do you think of the film? It's great. And I'm thinking, I haven't seen it yet. I mean, would you want to watch yourself on a screen that big? No, thank you. So I kind of thought to myself, marathon running had been created a platform by Paula Radcliffe. She was doing phenomenally well, producing these prodigious world record times. So this was at a time before social media, and a lot of people forget that you couldn't just say, oh, I've got an idea, I'm going to put it on Instagram and 1 million people are going to like it. You had to be able to use the mainstream media, and you were either going to do something very negative, which I didn't want to do. My veganism is always about positivity, proactivism and peacefulness, because to me that's what my life is about. I don't want to harm anyone, I don't want to hurt anyone, I want to lead by example, but by good example, by good, honest grit. That's all I know. I don't know anything else but that. So I thought about the marathon being a good event, and I thought, well, as a vegan, as a woman, if I can just get round a marathon, then surely that's got to prove that you can do anything on plant-based diet. And indeed it did, but I kind of got I would say I got the running bug, because I don't actually like running. I mean, I like the fact that I can run, and I'm blessed, because that's not very nice to people who can't run. I can hardly run, I've got no talent. It's a hard effort, and I kind of had to make the decision. Obviously, I realised I could run a bit, and I did some local short distance races, and I won them, and then it kind of triggered with me. People are coming to me now and asking me, what do you do for a living? Well, I don't do the sanctuary for a living. We don't do that for a living, but it gave me an opportunity to mention the sanctuary. Now, I will say, when I talk about the sanctuary, we have no advertising budget for anything. We only have the money goes directly to the animals. So it goes for the feed, the medications, the blacksmith, the maintenance. We take nothing from that. We put our own money in, and we still do and always will do. And people said, I remember going to the House of Lords, I was getting an award, and somebody from a very big charity came up to me and said, about the sanctuary, and I'm telling him what we do, and his jaws dropping to the floor. And he said, well, how do you pay for it? As if I was going to come around and say, oh, I've got some right little good scam on the go, I have, And it's not, I said, we put our own money in, my mum's pension, and then my firefighter, I'm going, his jaws dropping to the floor. He said, what, you put your own money in? I said, well, of course I do. I couldn't stand there and ask somebody else for theirs if I wasn't putting my own in, could I? And he walked away from me and he said, I think you're crazy. But anyway, that's the moral ethic that we have behind the sanctuary. So this is like when I said about investing time in the firefighting. If I think I can get a double benefit, so I thought I'm going to get free advertising for the sanctuary because people ask what you do. And it gives me an opportunity to talk about my veganism, because this is at a time before the vegan runners. It's only when I started to get the really, really good results in races that a couple of guys, Dave Arnold, Peter Simpson, were saying, Fiona, you're going to be on the elite start of the London Marathon. Do you know what that means? And I'm like, no, I don't really know anything about running. I just know A to B as quickly as you can, because then you can get home and do your jobs kind of thing. That's all my running's about. I am the Miss Amateur runner that's like running around the house just before I'm going out thinking, where can I locate what looks like a pair of socks or something like that? I really do not know anything about running other than you put one leg in front of the other and hope they work, finish. I'm really not into it in that way. So he said, you're going to be on the elite start of the London Marathon. That's a great opportunity. I was running for a vegetarian cycling and athletic club at the time. But he said, you're going to be 45 minutes ahead of the main field. The men and all the other runners, apart from a handful of women, are going to start 45 minutes. You're going to be running through the streets of London, and what's on your jersey is going to be seen by everyone because there's going to be nobody around you. I thought, yeah, at that point, we affiliated vegan runners. And I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of because it is the most positive form of accidental activism that you could possibly have. It's now apparently it's got 17,000 members, either running or non-running members. And, you know, you've got a captive audience there at races. People are interested in what people eat. Oh, you know, vegan, yeah, didn't think you could do that on a plant-based diet. So that's the vegan runner thing. So I'm not going to go on about, oh, my running, because it's really boring. So what did I do with my running? Well, I've never had much, I've got no money for running, and I've led this really unusual life. I do have a bizarre life. It has to be to fit everything in that I do, because I get up at 3:30 in the morning. I still do all the animal care myself. We have got 92 horses, 151 pigs, 122 sheep. We've got we've got 38 cows and just about everything in between. So we've got a lot of animals. So we've not got any money. That's why I eat throwaway food and I'm practically a freegan. So I don't really consider much about what I eat because I've got no money for any of this fancy stuff. So anyway, I just did road running because it's a simple equation. I was good. I could get invited to races. So Amsterdam Marathon, Haile Gebrselassie coach rang me and Jos Herman, would you consider running the Amsterdam Marathon? We pay your expenses. You get a free trip out there. You just run 2 races a year. It's economically efficient for being away for the animals. I train alone. I'm running around the Dengie Peninsula, not a runner in sight. The next minute you're on a coach with the best runner in the world looking for a world record, walking into the Olympic Stadium, getting all your photographs taken. Then you go home and you just go back to your animal work. That's all I've ever done, just an effective form of activism, not really interested in anything else than promoting the veganism where I can. So I've got a personal best in the marathon of 2 hours 38 minutes, which is pretty quick. In fact, sometimes I think, did I really run that? But I did, yeah. 2 hours 38 minutes. I've got loads of sub-3 marathons. At the point, I was hitting major marathons, big events that would pay for you to go, 2 a year maximum effect to get the vegan placard out there at the front of races. So I got like top 20s in London and Berlin and top 10s in Amsterdam, gold star marathons. And I thought, well, okay, hang on a minute, I'm doing really well, and these are really, really quick times. I'm getting a bit of publicity for the sanctuary, but I'm really not getting the promotion of veganism that I want. We'll go on to that because now, okay, even now I notice that the press aren't yeah, they might embrace veganism to a certain extent, but they're always looking at no, but he went vegan and he's now dying and he's not vegan. So it's like veganophobia, you know. There is that, and there certainly was at the time. So I thought, what do I do? Do I carry on running? Big investment in time and energy and effort. I'll mix it up. I'll go win some marathons. Went off and won a load of races. Still not having that effect that I want. Then somebody said to me, and I'm always reluctant to say friend because people start thinking if your friends suggest you do that, goodness knows what your enemies suggest you do. But then somebody said, you've done all these fast marathons. You're not going to run any quicker than that. Why don't you do Marathon des Sables? Simple thing, trudge across the desert, 250 odd kilometres, self-sufficient backpack, marathon a day, 1 day's a double marathon, it's brutal, bill it as the toughest foot race in the planet. It's what the film's based on, Running for Good. But what the film doesn't tell you is I'd actually done it twice before that. The first time I did it, because I'm literally playing a tag team with my partner at the sanctuary, I was working with the horses, one elderly horse charity. She got cast in a box, she went down, she couldn't get up. I pulled her to her feet 2 days before the race, and she stood on my foot and broke 2 of my toes. So now I'm left with the dilemma, do I go to the Marathon des Sables with broken toes, or do I sit at home and wonder what would have happened if I had have gone? Foolishly, I went, and I did complete the Marathon des Sables, came mid-place. People say, what did you eat during the race? All the dietitian and that. About 19 boiled sweets and a bag of painkillers is all I could manage. And on the long stage, I took the gaffer tape, because I daren't show the doctors on the race my foot, because it was so much, because your feet swell in the heat unless you're used to 50+ degree heat. You have to buy big shoes, so I felt like Coco the Clown going out there with these big long shoes. And but my foot was swollen with the broken toes. So by by the long stage, you could see the bone sticking out of the little toe. It was absolutely horrendous. And people were talking about stagnant water we were going to go through the next day. Anyway, I got through it, and I thought, yeah, I really enjoyed that. I didn't. You know, rose-tinted spectacles went on when I got home. You know, I'm going back there and kill it next year. You know, but in the meantime, one of my other friends had said, why don't you do the polar marathons, North Pole Marathon, Arctic Ice Marathon, Simple Pimple. Very, very difficult for me because I run 26.2 on tarmac is better for me because of the knee. I cannot run downhill. In fact, when Keegan showed me the footage of the film, I thought, I've got to look half decent. I'm in Sahara Desert, and he showed it me, and I'm looking, squinting away, and I see this little Quasimodo figure coming out there, limping away, and I'm thinking, and I thought, oh my God, it's me. Yeah, I mean, so I don't look good when I'm running at all. I know that. I live with that. So I wasn't sure about running at the North Pole. In fact, I didn't actually think there'd be a race at the North Pole. I thought it'd be somewhere in northern Norway. We'd all pile out, do 10k, get back in, and, you know, that'd be it. We'd call it a marathon because, let's be right, it was very cold. Anyway, I did the North Pole Marathon. I won it, broke a world record, fastest woman to ever run a marathon at the North Pole. Some of the guys there said to me, you know, why don't you kind of just do the world records? Ding, ding, ding. World records, animals, you know. Fastest woman to literally go to every continent and run a marathon. And yeah, I mean, even there, the vegan haters, it's not very environmentally friendly, is it, going around the world? Well, I say, you know, I didn't say I was a hermit, I said I was a vegan, you know what I mean? And, you know, I want, if everybody else had listened to the message, you know, I wouldn't have to trudge off around the world and do. But anyway, I went off around the world and did these marathons, and I broke the world record. But what I didn't understand is I thought the people at Mr. Guinness, you know, Guinness World Record, when they wanted to validate it, would you just come back with your results and say, I did it. Oh, no. You had to have validators, team of people round you. Oh, you need one person running with you and one photographing you. I said, I can't do that. We haven't got the money for this budget. So I devised that the only way I could possibly do this and get it validated was get the race to validate it for free, so go and win or place in every race, so that they would kind of say, she's on the podium there, of course we saw her run it, she's got the lead car with her. So I did that. It was very, very difficult because these marathons were on different continents. Some were only a week apart, and I was having to come home. I was in Australia for less than 4 days. I flew out there, got off the plane, bloke said, are you looking for your baggage? No, I haven't got any. Oh, are you going on somewhere? No. Are you staying with someone? No. Get out of my way, I'm in Uri. You know, and he said, well, what are you doing here? I said, and then I flagged up. I thought, this does look suspicious. I'm only here for the day. So I thought, I can rewind. I've got a marathon in the morning. I've got good reason for being here. And he just looked at me and said, on your way, woman, you're mental. But anyway, I did the world records. I did injure my knee very badly in the Atacama, in the race that I did. I combined the Antarctic race with a race in the Atacama Desert. 14,400 feet running a marathon is not funny, up a volcano. And I rolled my bad knee. I was told that I would not run again that year, let alone in 5 days in Antarctica. I still don't know how I did it, but I went down to Antarctica and I just did exactly what I'd done there. Podium with the men, broke the world record, that was fantastic. Got home, again encountered the veganophobia with the media. I'd got a national newspaper, wanted to cover the story, they thought it was fab, take your teddy bear, do all that. He was with me all the way, goes everywhere with me. And they said, we can't cover it. And cutting the long story short, they were saying, look, the advertisers in our papers pay our wages. It was running up to Christmas, so you got Aldi and Lidl promoting the 5-bird roast and the creamy trifles. We're not going to give free advertising to a vegan cause. We're not going to do that. So I was very, very disappointed. And I think when I wanted to talk to you about, one of the things I wanted to mention is, people ask me, you went to Antarctica, and I did go to Antarctica with a very, very bad knee, and I did not expect to be able to run. I could hardly walk, and we trudged around Punta Arenas looking for walking poles, and I'm calculating how long does it take to walk 26 miles in Antarctica, you know, and I don't know what did it. Well, I think I do. It's the fact that with me, with my veganism, the diet is probably, I tend to go away from the word diet when I say I'm a vegan, because with the word diet, people associate denial. And I say, I can have that. I choose to not have it. I don't want that in my life. And there's a reason behind, a very tangible reason behind why I'm doing what I do. It's an ethical reason. And I sometimes think that obviously I think that people do tend to do, the majority of people do things because they think it benefits themselves. I don't have children of my own, but you know, you can take your children on holiday to Disney, you can buy them fancy clothes, you can spoil them rotten, but the best thing you can give a child that I can see is a bright and healthy future. And that's what I think plant-based living is all about for me. It's the ethics about, for me, in my heart of hearts, I have to stand here honestly, I wouldn't care if I ate beans and potatoes for the rest of my life, so long as it didn't include an animal being harmed. I'm not bothered. It's all about the ethics. And that's what I say. My veganism is a constant learning curve. I don't know that much about anything, but at least I've got the good grace to admit it and that I'm willing to learn, rather than these kind of 2-minute Instagrammers that come on and pontificate all these stories with absolutely no substance or credentials behind them. And then 2 minutes later, when they've amassed this massive following, suddenly turn around, oh, I was wrong, I'm going the other way. It's not about that. I know I don't know very much, but I want to learn more. And veganism teaches me more. I learn things every day, and I've learned so much today. I've got enough material for about 10 years. I'm sorted for my next desert race. So I know we're in a hurry, and I don't want to keep anybody else from speaking. I would say a couple of things, points that I wanted to highlight. My mental well-being is very good. There's lots to talk about depression. The only time I do get very, very down, I'm not going to lie, is when I see the abhorrent images of animal cruelty on the internet, and you can get a little bit sucked into that and keep looking, and you have to withdraw away from it and go back to what you do to create positivity. Then I go back to the cow suit. That's why I run in the cow suit sometimes. If I'm just feeling a little bit different, I want to do something a little bit different, I'll rock up at a race wearing a cow suit and go and win it in it. And then people say, why are you wearing a cow suit on the hottest day of the year in a 100-kilometre race? And my answer to that is, so you would ask me why I'm wearing a cow suit, you know what I mean? And so then I can introduce you to the horrors of the dairy industry without standing there and shouting in your face, because to me, anger and negativity breeds anger and negativity back. I want people to come to me and ask. Do you see what I mean? That's where I get a better... For me, everybody's different with the way they approach things. For me, I'm not a confrontational person. I just can't do that. So a couple more things about me. I'm on no medications. I take no medications, and I don't actually take any supplements. I have to go to the doctors for the certificates for these extreme races, because they do like to include repatriation of your body if you die out there when you're trying to do them. And I've got a resting pulse of 36 beats a minute, which actually, when I did see a doctor who wasn't my GP, she insisted I was going to Everest. She insisted that I see a cardiologist, and she said I got severe something or other and I was going to keel over. And I went to see the cardiologist, the doctor, and he said, you should do that, woman, for actually making you come here, because he's a private doctor, because I had to see for the private ECG. And he said she should have asked you about your lifestyle. Obviously, somebody's going to have a very slow resting pulse if they've done what you do, and they do. I mean, I run about 100 miles a week with no bother at all. To me, yeah, I know. Well, I wouldn't say I'm no bother at all. I mean, I don't just like, oh, I'm running 100 miles a week. I do a lot of running. But for me, it's all about, my life, everything I do is about promoting veganism in a positive way. I've had to kind of do it kind of surreptitiously and manipulate the mainstream media, because there's been no other way of doing it. But the message now that I want to spread, I don't just want to carry on running forever because, you know, what my next project, somebody asked me what my next project is. I'm going to go and run a London Marathon Championship qualifying time, hope to break a world record, again, in my cow suit. So again, people actually ask me why I'm out there doing this in the Berlin Marathon, why are you dressed as a cow, and why are you up there running with, you know, kind of the good runners saying, watch me tail and don't trip over that kind of thing, or hope my ears don't drop off. But I want to go out there and spread the message. And I didn't think that, you know, in my 5th decade, I'd still be able to do this. I'd still be able to run 120-something for a half marathon if I want to. Do you know, I've never had a running injury. I've been running with this gammy leg, I have been running for 18 years, and I've never had a running injury. And one of the things on reflection, the benefits of my plant-based diet that I can only put down to my plant-based diet is my recovery rate is extreme. I still train twice a day. And yesterday, I had to do my speed session at lunchtime. Somebody did ask me to raise theirs. We started the Vegan Running Club, and we are so proud of that club. It's so precious because it's such an amazing tool for the animals. And somebody said, do you think that running in the vegan vest raises your game, and it does for me, because I'm out there to promote a message and I want to do it in the best possible way I can. So having that emblazoned across your I want to be able to back it up with positivity. But then some people say, well, if you can't win the race, you can't do well in it, does it have the same effect? Well, of course it does. Pace is all relative. It's very little importance. The facts are, you're out there and you're showing the world the benefits of plant-based living. That's all I want my life to be about. And if I keel over on the way home, good, I've done everything I can, I can't do any more. So for me, I will just end up by saying, I'm not a doctor. I feel very humbled to be around all you medical professions with all your statistics, because I've got no evidence or no proof, but I've only got me, and I've done it all, and I'm still doing it. So for me, veganism is just about, it's about the future for personal health, other humans' health, animal agriculture, the welfare of animals, the welfare of the planet. We are the custodians of this planet for future generations, and we owe it to them to be spreading this message, because it's got to be heard. I asked Keegan when we were in the desert having one of our deep-seated thoughts, do you think it's too late? And he said, probably it is, but I don't want to be one of those people that's just sat down and said, oh, can't do anything about it, so I'm not going to do anything. We must drive it home. And for me, effective-wise, for people to be hearing it from medical professionals, they listen to doctors. People do listen to doctors and people with expertise. So I never thought in my lifetime that I would be standing here in front of, when you said an orthopaedic surgeon, I went to orthopaedic surgeons many, many times, and as I say, my mum was accused of child abuse for allowing me to be vegan. I never thought this day had come, and so thank you very, very much, and thank you for asking me to be part of it.